This is a 4K HDR Google TV box. Let's plug it in and check it out. Dave Taylor here, and if you're like me, you have TVs and they have built-in smart TV interfaces that might not be great. Enter third-party boxes. These are devices that you plug into your TV and you use the device instead, bypassing all of the often quite out-of-date TV technology and using it just as a display, where this is giving you all of your streaming channels, all of your apps, all of your other functionality. This particular unit that I'm looking at today is the Infomir MAG555 4K HDR Google TV OTT IPTV box. OTT is over the top, which is referring to boxes that you plug in and hook up to televisions. And IPTV is Internet Protocol Television, which means that they support live streaming of TV content if you have the rights to get to that particular stream. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you a very little bit about this, then we're gonna actually open it up, see what's in the box, hook it up, get it all set up, and then we'll actually go through and see a couple of its different features. Notable is that it works with Netflix and Disney Plus, so we'll be looking at both of those. A lot of boxes don't actually support those. Netflix in particular is very picky about who it will authorize. But this particular unit is 4K HDR, and it also can hook up to devices that have 1080p, 720p, 576p or I, and 480. So all of those different resolutions mean you can use this on older or smaller or less capable televisions, or if you have a really beautiful 4K TV or 4K monitor, you could hook this up to a computer, for example, and use this as a completely different way to be able to access content. Audio-wise, it supports AAC and Dolby Digital. You can put movies on it directly, and it can play in MKV, MPG, MOV, MP3, and OGG formats. So it's super compatible. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It's built around an ARM Cortex A35 quad 64-bit chip. So this little box has a surprising amount of capabilities and processing power. 2 gig of RAM, 16 gigabits of MMC memory, but as far as I understand, it's actually just an SD card, so we should be able to put in a bigger one if we want. Google TV is built on top of Android 12, has voice control, Google Assistant, etc., etc. Lots of specs. I'll come back to that, but let's open the box and see what's inside. So, right off the bat, we see that there is instructions, that's handy, and information about the power supply unit, and then the device itself. Let's pull this out, and this is really small. One of the things that these companies are working on is making it as small as possible. So let's open up the plastic and see, and this is a pretty typical size. So this is 4.2 inches by 4.2 inches by 9/10 of an inch. And one of the things they've added to this very most recent unit is this sticking out here is a power switch. And they've done that because people want to be able to turn the device off. And I agree with that. If you're not using it, you might not need to have it continue on. Now, real quick, here's all the different ports on the back. You can see most importantly is that HDMI and Ethernet. And then there's not much else to see here. There are a couple of holes on the bottom that would let you mount it on a wall if you want to mount it behind your television. And it will require its own power. So let's put it here and see what else is in the box. Now, I do know that on here it shows Scan Me, and that Scan Me gets to information about how to install something called Magic Launcher from Infomir. And Magic Launcher works with your other IPTV providers to give you a centralized access point. It's worth checking out. You could just look it up. Just look up in the Google Play Store, Infomir Magic Launcher, and you can learn about it. But this, otherwise, piece of cardboard. In the box, we have HDMI, and it supports HDMI 2.1, which is important with HDCP, so it is pretty fancy. It should be able to turn on your television when you turn on the box. That's what HDCP gives you. So that's our HDMI cable. And let's see, we also have a power adapter. And let's see, so here's our power adapter, and that's going to be pretty easy to work with. And two AAA batteries that go with the remote control. So I'm going to open this up, and so it comes with yet another remote control. It's a pretty straightforward one. You can see in the close-up that it has shortcuts for YouTube, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and Disney Plus. So they are very excited about those. We'll put the batteries in a second. And then the only other thing in the box is a tiny little thumb drive. So I think this is going to be that 16 gig I talked about. So maybe that's how you get that memory. I'm going to get rid of the box. So there is, let's see. Oh, I see. On the side, there are two USB-A ports. So I can just plug in this. And of course, if I have this and it's 16 gig, then I could just as easily have something like this and have it be 256 gig or even larger, and then have an enormous amount of content. And I really like that because you can save lots of content. For example, download content from YouTube and then save it onto your flash drive, put it into this, and now you're watching it on TV. Now you could use the YouTube app, but the YouTube app needs internet connectivity. If you've downloaded it to this, you don't need to be on the internet, which means you could use this at your Airbnb or your cabin in the woods. So let's see, what do we have to do next? So we need to get the batteries into the remote, and then we need to hook the whole thing up to the TV. So let's get these batteries in, and that's easy enough. Let's see. It's amazing. Decades and decades later, we still have the same basic design for batteries. So that's kind of interesting that that hasn't evolved to the next level. So now our remote's ready, and it has a tiny light that's flashing. I'm going to have to hook up the HDMI, but more importantly, I'm going to switch things around so you can get a better view of what's happening on the screen. So let's get this thing set up. This doesn't look promising, but remember there's that on-off switch. So let's turn it on. And looks like we're starting up and everything's looking promising. Nice Google TV logo. And we're ready to get started with the configuration, which I'm going to do with the remote control. So English, United States, United States. And we can set up with the Google Home app. Ooh, that sounds promising. I'm going to do that instead. So let me get this set up. And it is connecting, which is promising. And it's connected. And what this does is this makes it really easy for me to connect to my Wi-Fi network and get it hooked up with my system, which is a real pleasure. If you have any Google devices like a Nest thermostat or a Protect smoke detector, then you have Google Home, you're signed in, and it makes this setup an absolute breeze. And the first thing that it has to do is a software update for the TV. So we'll go ahead and let it do its thing, and I'll be right back. Well, that took a little longer than I expected, but we are back, and now I can continue, and now we're going to set up the Google TV. So I'm going to fast forward past this section. We're back, and it's noticed that I plugged in that flash drive, so naturally, let's see what's on it. And looks like they don't preload much of anything, so we'll just back up. Get the most out of your Google TV. I don't want any of that. Notice that it does support multiple profiles, and it does support children's profiles. So if you have kids in the house, you can limit what they can watch. But now here I am on Google TV, and there's live channels. So we can just jump to, let's see, popular. We'll see what channels it comes up with as popular. And Life of Brian. Now that sounds my speed. Let's choose that and see how it looks. Oh, that's with Pluto TV. All right, we'll back up. And let's see if we can find one that I don't need to install an app. No, looks like all these are going to be involved in installing apps. So let's just see if we go to free play, whether we can actually just watch something without having to install anything. Okay. Oh, and there's more updates. And I can update my remote too. So there's a lot going on here. And you can hear, I'm going to mute it, and we're going to back away from this because I definitely do not have rights to rebroadcast Hawaii 5.0, and this is the modern Hawaii 5.0, not the OG Hawaii 5.0. But I'm going to press the home button on the remote, and now that gets us down to all of these, and notice that it shows you what channel you would need to be able to watch this. So this is on Disney Plus. If I select Avatar, The Way of Water, then it will launch the Disney Plus app, and I would have to log in, but let's just choose Watch Now and see what happens. Okay, so we have the Disney logo. I assume this is as it's starting the app up. We'll find out momentarily. And there it is. So there's the Disney Plus app. I don't actually have an account, so we'll go back with the home button. And I do have Plex. So I have my Plex server, and it looks like it's already figured it out because it's already showing me how far into the show or this particular movie I am, which is really cool. And then this is Tubi and YouTube. Let's go to YouTube. And that should be pre-installed, and it should be pre-logged in because I logged into my Google account. So I'm expecting this to start right out, and it did. How nice is that? And it's an ad, so we'll back away from that. And so here I am now on YouTube watching and being able to go through channels. And while we're here, let's try out voice search. So I'm going to do search, but I'm going to push the microphone button on the remote and say, ask Dave Taylor. Oh, I didn't do that, but let's see. Maybe I have to push this button and allow to access microphone. So we'll try again. Allow YouTube to record while using the app. Ask Dave Taylor. And there you go. That is a pretty easy way to navigate through YouTube TV. Again, I'm going to press the home button, and let's go down to apps and let's try Netflix. And I also haven't logged into Netflix, but you can see it is one of the many apps available. What you can see here, so number one, it is successfully controlling the remote is successfully controlling the audio, which I probably should have mentioned when I pressed the mute button, but it's also working just fine with Netflix too. And look at the quality of that picture. Again, we'll go back to home, and here's movies you can buy if you really want to watch Wicked, and it's definitely way better than Kraven the Hunter is, and it's probably also better than Sonic 3, though I really enjoyed Sonic 3. I mean, these are fantastic movies that you can rent right there. Boom. Moana 2, very entertaining. Den of Thieves 2, But hey, you didn't connect to this YouTube review to hear my movie reviews. But you can see Google TV top 10 in the US, and you can notice again that they're from different services. So this is something where unless you pay for a lot of different streaming services, you're going to encounter some things you won't be able to watch. So here we have Disney Plus, and then number 2 is Cinemax, HBO Max, sorry, and then Disney Plus again, and then Prime Video, and this is on Peacock, and this one is just a straight rental from Google TV's service, as is this. And so notice the difference in price. So Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is $5.99, but Mufasa is $29.99 to watch that movie. That's pretty impressive. One of the things I really, really like about modern Google TV is it supports Apple TV Plus. And I actually enjoy the heck out of the Apple TV programming. But again, Google TV, we can search by genre. There's a lot we can do. I will again go back to the top. We looked at live. Let's look at apps. And you can see here are my apps right there, nice and easy. And then we can look at our library. And of course, if we had that media on that USB drive, that would be part of how we might access that. We have a universal search. And then we have the ability to adjust lots of different settings and go into Google Home. And oh, I need to update my remote. I need to finish setup. We'll do that later. Let me jump back on camera. Setup took a while, I admit it, but there were also a bunch of updates to apply, and I still haven't logged into some of these streaming services, but I think you've got a really good sense of what the MAG555 offers. It's a full, high quality, easy to work with Google TV experience. And their remote control is slim and super light. And as you can see in this close-up, it has a lot of buttons giving you a lot of access to your favorite content, whether it's live streams, and you saw there were tons of different streams, whether it's your own library, whether it is content that you've put on your flash drive, or whether it's actually through various apps. Now, as I said, it does include Magic Launcher and Ministra Pro, which are 2 apps from Infomir. I will let you explore them. You can just go on to Google Play and just have a look to see what they do. But let's get back to a couple more specs before I wrap up. So I think I said it's HDMI 2.1 with HDCP and Bluetooth 5.0, so you can use this, pair it with headphones, and then listen wirelessly and privately to whatever content you're watching. This is such a blessing if you're someone who watches content late at night, or if you have neighbors that are complaining it's always noisy. Just put on headphones or even earbuds, pair them, and you're good to go, and they have no idea what you're doing. So really nice. Just as importantly, it works with Google Cast, formerly known as Chromecast, which means that if you have a computer or an Android phone, and depending on the app, a number of apps you can use on the iPhone, you can literally just wirelessly send video content to this, which will show up on your TV. It is a delight. It works really well if you're doing something like video conferencing, or better, if you're attending a lecture via video, you can just push it onto your television. How nice is that? So, custom parental profiles, that's part of Google TV. We saw that way back at the beginning of my setup. And if you don't have Google Home already set up on your mobile device, you can just go through the whole process here, and it's a little more tedious. You're gonna have to log into your Google account. You'll have to log into your Wi-Fi network. I sidestepped all of that, which was quite delightful, actually. And of course, because it is full Google TV running Android, you get access to the Google Play Store, which gives you over 10,000 applications you can choose from, notably including 2 that I demoed, Netflix and Disney Plus. So, you've seen the size, you've seen the remote, we've looked at everything that was in the box. We can see what's happened here is that it's just advertising. So let's go down. You can see all the different choices you have here. It's really nice. It's super easy to work with, and certainly once you get it set up, you are good to go. And I really like the power switch. A lot of these devices, you have no idea how to turn it on or off, but if you need to turn it off for any reason, or you just want to actually, I don't know, cycle power because it got into a weird state, which can happen, then it's super easy to do that. Really appreciate all of that. So that's everything I got. This is definitely one worth checking out. I am going to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications of my new content, and give me a thumbs up if you found this of value, and I certainly hope that you did. And if there's something you wish I would have covered and I didn't, go ahead and leave that in a comment so that when I do another OTT or over-the-top IPTV box, then I'll be able to include that too. So that's everything I got. This, let me hold it up, is the Infomir MAG555 4K HDR Google TV OTT IPTV box. It's a lot of keywords there. And it is $107 currently, discounted down to $91 at us.infomir.store. I think this is a solid option if you're tired of your TV having crummy choices for you or a bad smart TV interface. This gives you the entire world of Google and so much more. And it's a very easy, streamlined, and speedy. And of course, it comes with a swanky remote, so that's cool too. That's everything I got. I might go back to Hawaii Five-0. I have fond memories of that show, but maybe the previous iteration of it. But anyway, that's what I got. Hope to catch you in my next video.